I'm here, 107 News in Liscard, Wirral. Just an ordinary Wednesday lunchtime at this job centre, or is it? There's a group of people standing outside as part of a national day of action that's being coordinated across the country today against benefit sanctions. The job centre pays benefits, but the problem is sometimes it doesn't pay them at all. That problem is known as sanctions. And that's one of the many vans and general traffic that's been passing, beeping their horns, which usually means outside of a protest that they support it. Just missed a good moment there where a Porsche, so there we got one again. So that bus beeped, and so did that van, which shows that the feeling is with the people who have to deal with the job centre bureaucracy. So a brief explanation of sanctions. I will try to explain that now. So we're here outside the job centre, and what's interesting is it's opposite a school. You can hear the kids playing outside. That's the default for everybody, that when you start life, childhood, you go to school. Then an easy option, the default one you could choose, is college and university. But after that, getting a job or whatever you'd expect to do in adult life isn't guaranteed. So that means that the actual default to have any income and any right to exist is basically, for every adult in the UK, job seekers allowance. They're renaming it universal credit, but it will still contain the highly strict, the huge conditionality that comes with job seekers allowance, which means that if you do anything, they don't do what they want you to do, or do things wrong according to their regulations, you now have the power to throw you off benefits. And if that happens 3 times, it can be as long as an amazing 3 years without your base benefit, which is very low. It's only £73 a week. Amazingly, in the other countries such as Ireland, it's significantly higher. £73 is not considered enough to actually live when you consider all the various utilities and food and all those defaults. Therefore, it leads to a lot of anxiety. So now, with the threat of sanctions thrown in as well, we have a truly toxic cocktail from a system that is meant to be, at its base, actually helping people. Obviously there is resistance to what is going on because the vital support that is needed is being slashed via sanctions amongst other cuts, and that's not reflected in the unemployment figures either. Have you ever had the problems of being sanctioned?
Yeah, I have. I've got my benefits cut to like £30 a fortnight.
What,
so
fortnight? That's £15 a week.
This is a couple of years ago, so it was like £15. I think, it might have been about £30 a week, something stupid.
So this could be the hardship payment, because it's not a complete zero, but it is when you get sanctioned. It might as well
be zero, because by the time I've got a house, I've got a flat, so I have to put, at least in the winter, at least £20 electric in, £20 gas. You know yourself, you go to Asda, you spend 20 quid, that's 60
Yes, you do, it's very...
That's 60 quid, how are you meant to live off £30 a week? I do not know, I didn't live off £30 a week. I had to go to food banks. The food banks are absolutely chocker because they took away the crisis loans. You used to be able to walk into a job centre and get a crisis loan, now you can't. You'd have to go to the council office and you'd have to get a food bank voucher and go to a food bank if you run into any trouble with your benefits or sanctions, which the food banks are absolutely blew off their feet because of it. They're opening more and more food banks over the country because of what the job centre have done to the people, because the people can't, where there was a safety net, a crisis loan, there's no safety net anymore, so they took the safety net away from us.
How easy is it, do you think, to end up getting a sanction if you by the job centre now?
Very, very easy, because you'd have like, I'm sure, I'm on ESA, so when I was on JSA, it was pretty simple, but now, I'm on JSA now, I have to do like about,
how easy is it to actually get a sanction with the job centre, because it's the worst thing that can happen.
I'm trying to claim that they want you to fill in a job sheet of at least 30 30 jobs at least a week that you have to find.
This is a week.
This is a week or a fortnight. It might be a fortnight. So you have to fill in.
Still a lot.
That's a bit. You have to fill in a job sheet. Unless you fill that job sheet in, unless you've gone on the internet and they can actually go into that and look whether you've gone into that job application to put the form in. Unless you've done that, they can stop your benefits straight away. So
when they do, you then have to claim this hardship payment.
But then you're waiting a couple of weeks for the hardship payment to go through, so you're stuck for a couple of weeks.
All utilities
and
everything.
To use food banks.
And so, what about the housing benefits as well? I mean,
housing benefits stop. As soon as your benefit stops, the housing benefit stops. So does the council tax. And then, if people don't know about the red form, which I didn't, every time your benefit stops, you'd have to go to the when it gets reinstated again, you have to go down to the benefit office and put a new red form in. If you don't put that red form in, you're liable for your rent and your council tax until you put that form in. So people could be walking out with £3,000-4,000 debts because they don't know about this red form, which I've actually done, and I've been left with a huge.
So that's arrears, isn't it? So,
yes, I've been left with a huge whopping arrears bill because of that.
So how long did you get sanctioned for in your case?
I think it was good. It was a good month and a half, something like that. Month and a half.
It's like 4 or 5 weeks sort of thing,
maybe. It might have been a bit longer than that.
Summer holidays.
Yeah.
So if you want to think about it, the whole length, we used to think it was a long time, didn't we, as kids? The summer holidays.
The holiday on £170 a fortnight.
But we're talking about spending the entire length of these school summer holidays, which is 6 weeks, sanctioned, not able to live.
And if you've got kids and you're sanctioned, what are the kids meant to do? And that's why the food banks are in place, because there's no crisis loans anymore, there's no safety net. They haven't given it, they're just taking everything away from us.
Well, how hard is it to live just on the regular payment of £73 a week? Which is when you're not sanctioned anyway, that's just the normal payment.
Very hard when you've got gas, electric, food, and you've got kids to provide for, and you've got expenses, you've got bus fares, you've got this, which I need to get to appointments because my baby's been stolen off me by the state. 2 kids have been stolen off me, so I need to get to all my appointments.
Yeah, this is the problems with social services, who do have very, very far-reaching powers. They can break up families, which makes it very interesting.
They broke my family up. They really have broke my family up, and it's meant to be they're meant to be working with us to put families back together. They haven't put my families back together. They've ripped my family apart. They've ripped my life apart. Never mind my family. They've ripped my life and destroyed me and my son and my daughter.
So it's a situation where getting involved with the authorities and having to turn to them just to get our basic money, we're almost in a situation of war. Almost we're in a conflict situation instead of being helped.
This is the war because we're standing here with the signs.
And this, of course, it is the war because right now pressure's being put on job centres around the country today. This is Liscard in the Wirral, but in Liverpool there's action, in London there's action, in Manchester against these really cruel, punitive benefit sanctions. So there's one thing that's happening as well, which is interesting as well, but cuts even to job centres themselves. This is Liscard. They're thinking of closing this centre and making claimants from this area, Liscard and Wallasey, go to Birkenhead.
I'm not being funny enough, but they do nothing anyway. You go in there, everything's done on a phone, they're neither use nor an ornament. They say to you, go and phone someone, and you walk out of there, they're neither use nor absolute ornament, so blow it up.
So how difficult would it be if you had to go to Birkenhead, say you lived in Wallasey?
Well,
how difficult would you find it?
Basically, there's no train stations around here, so you have to pay £5.20 a day to get there and back. So if you think about that, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, £35 a week in bus fares to get to Birkenhead. So double that in a fortnight, that's £70.
Yes, I mean, even if you were on maybe a higher rate of ESA or something, this could be a lot if you were called in for, say, a work-related interview, which, on the work activity group that's just been cut yesterday for new claimants down to job seekers allowance rates from 2017.
Everyone's making appointments for me, but I can't get to them appointments because they're not providing money for me.
How often would you say that the job centre do call you in, so that you end up having to go in for some reason or another?
To be honest with you, they call me once every 6 months just to see it. I don't even know why they call me, to be honest with you, because basically I am really ill. I should be on PIP, but obviously took completely off it. What, because I've got no money?
But when you're on job seekers allowance, how different did you find that?
Job seekers allowance is ruthless, absolutely disgusting. Like the amount of money that they give you to live off is basically not even worth it. You can't do nothing with it, and with my illness, with my illness, by the time, because I spend my money, that's part of my illness, I just go out and spend it on that day. So I have to go 14 days without no money. So there's people that are getting sanctioned for 3 months, or even the universal credit where it's getting paid once every 4 weeks.
Yeah.
If they put mine to universal credit, I'm surviving 3 weeks, 4 weeks without any money because of my illness. So really, I should be on PIP, but
well, this is another issue when we're talking about all the benefit changes, changing disability living allowance to PIP.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it's just disgusting. I think the whole system is disgusting. We're all corrupt. We all work together.
Will make it harder to claim because they've changed the descriptors, and even people with life awards for DLA will all have to apply for this new PIP, and that of course just means you may or may not get it.
I have applied for the new PIP and I've been disallowed, so I owe them money for a year. So that's why I'm standing here with my son, because I've been disallowed my PIP, and they're just disgusting.
Well, thanks for talking on 107 News today.
Very welcome.